So guys, this is continuation to import sets topic. This is continuation to import sets topic, guys. Okay. Whenever we load the data into ServiceNow, whenever we load the data into ServiceNow, an import set will be created is what we have discussed. Okay. First, when we load the data, first import set will be created. After creating the import set, data will be stored into the temporary table. Then transform map will run. Transform map will transform the data from source table to target table. Okay. So that is what we have discussed in our previous sessions. Let me just go to whiteboards. Okay. So once you load the data into ServiceNow, first it will store into the temporary table. So from the temporary table, you will run the transform map. Through the transform map, you will actually push the data into target table. Okay. So what did we understand in the transform map? We have mapped the fields, source table fields and a target table fields. Source table fields are nothing but Excel sheet columns. Excel sheet columns are nothing but source table fields. Remember this point. So in the transform map, what we will do, we will map the source table field with the target table field. Source table short description with the target table short description. Source table description with the target table description. So likewise, we will do the field mapping. So after doing the field map, what we will do, we use coalesce. Why do we use coalesce? To avoid the duplicate records. To avoid the duplicate records, we will use coalesce. And also we did understand that we can apply coalesce on multiple fields. What happens if you apply coalesce on multiple fields, guys? You tell me. Hmm? What happens when you apply coalesce on multiple fields? Hmm? Both fields should match to update the record. If only one field is matching, the other field is not matching means, if only one field is matching, the other field is not matching means a record will be created. Okay. So record will be created. Very good, Dikshit. So well, what happens is that we have applied coil. We can also apply coalesce on multiple fields. Okay. So that is what we understand in our previous session. And also, let us say from the Excel sheet, from the Excel sheet. Okay. From the Excel sheet, let us say assignment group is a reference field. Assignment group is a reference field. Assign to is a reference field. Okay. Assign to is a reference field. Configuration item is a reference field. When it comes to the state is a choice type of field. Suppose, guys, whatever the group name that you are sending, whatever the group name that you are actually sending from Excel sheet, whatever the group that you are actually uploading from the Excel sheet, if this group name is not there in ServiceNow, if this group name is not there in ServiceNow, okay, if you select a choice action as create in the field mapping, okay, let me just go to transform maps. This is an important topic, guys, very important topic. If you are not able to answer this question, They will think that you don't have good experience in service now. Okay. This is very important. This is even useful in the integrations part as well. This transform map concept is important in the integrations as well. So how is it related to integration means, guys? Suppose Salesforce, from the Salesforce, whenever they create a record in Salesforce, that record has to be created in ServiceNow. Okay. Whenever Salesforce create a record, that record has to be created in ServiceNow. That means Salesforce will send details to ServiceNow. Okay. So here, first of all, what we will do, we will not directly place them into the target table. Okay. Whatever the Salesforce sending, whatever the details that Salesforce is sending, we don't directly keep into the target table. What we will do, we will keep them into the temporary table. So from the temporary table, we will validate the data, because whatever the data that Salesforce is sending, that is valid or not, we will actually first verify. How do we verify? First, we will place them into the temporary table. After placing them into the temporary table, we will verify it. After the successful verification, so you will first place them into the temporary table. You will verify through the transform maps. So transform map will actually verify the details as well. Okay. So after transform map verifying all the details, it will allow Salesforce to create a record into the target table. If Salesforce is sending some wrong data or incorrect data or dummy data, duplicate data, transform map will stop the data processing into target table. Okay. So this transform maps concept is so important, very, very important. Even it is used in the integrations part as well. Okay. So remember this point, guys. Okay. So what exactly will happen is that, okay, what exactly will happen is that, so we will provide, okay, we will provide this temporary table information. Okay. We'll go to REST API Explorer. We'll go to REST API Explorer. You select here as import set API. Okay. Select the temporary table. Tempo problem. Okay. 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 So what we will do is we will actually share this. Okay. We will share this URL with the Salesforce. We'll share this URL with the Salesforce. Okay. As well as we will share this request body with the Salesforce. We will share this request body with the Salesforce. Okay. Salesforce will send us the data in this format. In place of empty values, they will pass their values. Okay. In the Salesforce, whatever the values that they entered, they will actually enter here in spaces, right? They will enter those values here. So we will get the details from the Salesforce in this format. So we will also provide we will also provide them credentials, ServiceNow credential. We will create a user account. You will create a user account. Okay. here, like we have created a user account, right? So we will create a user account and we'll make it web services access only. We'll make it web services access only, and we will share those credentials here. Okay, we'll share those credentials here. Integration dot user some abc at the rate 2024. So what exactly we will do? We will share this URL. We will share this format, data format. In this format only, Salesforce has to send the data to ServiceNow, and this is the username. This is the password. So what they does, using these credentials, they will authenticate ServiceNow. In this format, they will send the data. They will send the data in this format to this particular table. Okay, temporary table. So what happens first? Whenever they create a record, the record will be created into the temporary table first. Once a record is created into the temporary table, transform map will run. So in the transform map, we will actually verify whatever the configuration item that they sent is available in ServiceNow or not. Okay, whatever the assigned to that they are sending is available in ServiceNow or not. So we will do validations using transform map. After doing the validations, only then we will allow Salesforce to create a record in ServiceNow. Not only Salesforce, guys, any external system. If any external system is sending the data, we can't believe that they are sending we can't believe them that they are sending proper data. First, we will have to validate the data. After validating the data only, we should process the data into ServiceNow target tables. So that is why we will not allow external systems to create a record on target tables. We will not allow external systems to create a record on target tables, guys. Why do we allow them to create a record in temporary table? Is that first, whatever the details that they are sending, we have to verify first. So we will verify it. We will first place them into the temporary table. We will validate it using transform map, and we will transform into the target table. Okay. So here, in place of this temporary table, you can directly provide a target table as well. Target table is nothing but table API. Target table is nothing but table API. Directly, you can provide table API to external system. Okay, let us say problem here. Direct you are providing target table API to them. So this is actually called a table API, guys. This table API is actually directly target table access. Directly target table access. Okay. So what will happen if you directly grant target table access? Okay. This is actually target table API. This is actually import table API. Okay, temporary table API. So if you provide a directly target table API, you are directly getting the data to target table. So you are directly getting the data to target table in this format. Okay, that is fine. Okay, you will have to provide the authentication detail to external system. Okay, so you'll have to provide authentication details to external system. External system has to whenever external system is trying to create a record in service now, first it has to authenticate, then only it can send the request body. This we call it as request body. Request body can be sent to service now. So then what happens if you use table API? External system will directly send the data to target table. Target table in the sense here it is problem table. If it is directly sending data to target table, so how can we validate the data? We can validate the data using before business rules. Before business rules also we can validate the data. Can't we validate the data using before business rules, guys? Hmm? Guys, answer me. Hmm? Hello. So we can validate the data. So here, what we are doing whenever external system is sending data to service now, whenever external system is sending data to service now, first we are storing the temporary table. So through the temporary table, we are actually receiving the data and we are running the transform map. Through the transform map, we are validating the data and we are actually stopping the data processing at the transform map level itself. Okay. And when it comes to the target table, directly it is coming the data to target table using before business rules. We are actually stopping the data processing into database. Okay. Well, here we are able to do validations on both of these things, right? Here also we are able to do validations in the import set API. We are able to do the validations at the transform map. We are able to do the validations at before business rule level as well. Here also we are able to do the validations at the before business rule level as well. Then why do we need import set API? Why do we need a temporary table? Okay, guys, remember we should not blindly believe the external system users. External system users means we can't blindly believe Salesforce users, because Salesforce users will say that I have sent this particular request, but it did not create a request in ServiceNow. We should see which request they sent. First of all, we should see which request they sent or not. Okay, so that request we are first storing in the storing into the temporary table, right? So when they say I have sent the request properly but it did not create, first of all what request they have sent or not, we can check it in the temporary table. So remember this point, guys. So they will send some random data. They will send some random data and they will say it has not created record in service now. Okay, what data they have sent? First of all, we need to check. So where do we check? We can check it into the temporary table. Which data they have sent and all, we can check it into the temporary table. If the temporary table is not there, if the temporary table is not there, if you are directly using table API, if you are directly using table API, so if they send, if they tell us that we have sent this request, but it did not create in service now, so how can we authenticate them? How can we believe that they have sent a proper request? If you use table API, we can't figure out it, right? Guys, tell me. Do you understand what I told you? Hmm? So when external system is trying to create a record, what we will do is we will allow them to create a record into the temporary table first. So we will allow them to create a record on the temporary table first. Once they create a record on the temporary table, so whatever they said, that we will store it into the temporary table first, so that we can check what request details they have sent and all. After that, transform map will run, and then once the transform map is run, it will validate the data and it will stop the data processing into target table. Suppose if you directly use table API, so what happens? Data will directly come to the target table, and you will use before business rules. You will stop the data processing into database. So where exactly you are storing the external system request body? So to store that external system request body, okay, we are using temporary table here. Do you understand how is it useful? How is this transform maps concept? How is this import temporary tables are useful in the integration part? Everyone, everyone. Ravi Kumar, I think you are going through the integration sessions as well, right, Ravi Kumar? Let me unmute you. Hello.
Yeah, Uday, I'm not going to attend the integration sessions, but
Yeah,
I took the videos from admin.
yeah,
I bought,
yeah,
yeah,
that's what. So you gone through the APIs part?
uh, I'm in the third session. Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever I get the chance, I'm attending the videos. Like I'm looking into the videos. And Uday, you said like integration basics you will cover for our batch, right? I think the pending items for our 9:30 batch is different. The
See, we will
currently,
discuss separately, Ravi Kumar. This is not actually the one we are discussing now. We are discussing import set API. Okay.
okay, sure, Uday.
Yeah. So I mean, you are able to understand this concept, right?
Yeah, understood, Uday.
Yeah. So, so how is this temporary table useful and all? You guys for integrations and all, you guys are clear or not? Everyone. Hello. Is that clear, guys? Okay. Well, so when it comes to this transformer, well, guys, here we have seen, okay, we have seen the field mapping here, okay. What if I have to do the field mapping using scripting? We can also do the field mapping using script as well, okay. We can do the field mapping using script as well. You can use a run script here, okay. If you use a run script here, what happens is that here you are able to see source object and target object here. Source object refers to source table field values. Source object refers to source table field values. Target object refers to target table field values. Okay. So do you understand, guys, what is this source object and target object? Source object refers to source table field values. Target object refers to target field values. So let us say here, guys, you tell me in ServiceNow, in the external system, in the Excel sheet, you have first name and last name both. Let us say first name and last name. So here you have two fields, okay? Here you have two fields. But in ServiceNow, there are no fields. In the ServiceNow target tables, there are no two fields. There is only one field called name. Okay. There is only one field called name. So then what you will do here is you will map those fields here. Source dot, okay. Here target dot name is equal to target dot name is equal to source dot, okay. Source dot u underscore first name, okay. Target dot u underscore last name. So here, what am I doing? I am actually combining two source fields. Okay, I'm combining two source fields. I'm actually passing it to only one target field. So if I don't use scripting here, is that possible using field mapping here? Is that possible using field mapping here, guys? You tell me. In the field map, it is not possible because you are mapping two fields there. But in the source, two field values are coming. But you have to map it to only one field in the target table. You have to map it to only one field in the target table. That is where you will use um, uh, run script here, guys, in the transform map. Okay. So here, if you scroll down here, how can you map two fields as two fields as how can you map two source fields to one target field? Okay. So here it is not possible using field map. That is where you will go for script here. In the script, target refers to target table. Target table here is problem table. So problem table, in the problem table, this name field belongs to problem table. This first name and last name fields belongs to, sorry, here it should be source. This first name and last name belongs to the temporary table. This temporary table data, you will get it from the spreadsheet. Okay. So two columns will be created into the temporary table when you load this data. So what you are doing, you are combining the first name and last name, and you are passing that value to the target table field value. So that is actually about a run script, guys. So if you want to do the field mapping using script, you can use run script here. Okay. In the run script, you have source object and you have target object. These two are important. Okay. So when you are loading the data, is it a insert or update? You can check it using is update. Is update true means will give boolean value true. So is update true means it is updating the record. Okay. Is update false means it is inserting the record. Okay. So this map and log and all, we don't use it, guys. Okay. You can ignore about these two things. Map and log, we don't use it. So remember source, target. Okay, source, target. So source refers to temporary table. Target refers to target table. Okay, here in this case, source refers to temporary table, and target refers to the target table. Okay. Likewise, you can do the field mapping using script as well. Okay. Well, when it comes to the run business rules, when it comes to the run business rules here, what do I mean by run business rules here? So in the target table, in the problem table, are there any business rules, guys? We'll see. On the target table, there are business rules here. Okay, here there are business rules. So what am I? So what in the transfer map? If this checkbox is checked, if this checkbox is checked on the target table, what are the business rules are there? Those business rules also will run. If this checkbox is not checked, those business rules will not run. You are getting my point, everyone? If this checkbox is checked, whatever the business rules that are there in the problem table, okay, whatever the business rules that are there in the problem table, that will run. Okay. If this checkbox is unchecked, those business rules will not run. So, guys, here, whenever we are transforming the data, first the data will be stored into the temporary table, then this transform map will run. After running this transform map, record will be created into the target table, right? On the target table, there are some business rules. Those business rules should run means you will check this checkbox, and this checkbox is unchecked means those business rules will not run. Okay. So enforce mandatory fields. So enforce mandatory fields means in the table, in the problem table, if there are mandatory fields, okay, if there are mandatory fields, so all the mandatory fields should come. Then you will select all fields here. Okay. So in the problem table, let us say there are actually 10 mandatory fields. All the 10 mandatory field values should come here, should come to create or update the record. Okay. So instead of selecting all fields, if you select only mapped fields, in the mapped fields, what are mandatory fields? Those field values should come. You're getting my point? In the mapped fields, we have mapped fields here, right? In the mapped fields, if there are any mandatory fields, let us take a problem statement is a mandatory field. This field value should be there, must come to update or create the record. Okay. So only mapped fields. So from the mapped fields, if there are any mandatory fields, those values should come to ServiceNow to create or update a record. So copy empty fields. This is an important one, guys. By default, by default, these empty values will not be copied to ServiceNow system. Okay. If I just make it empty here, if I make it empty here, if I load this data, if I load this data, fix nodes, I made it as empty, right? Let me just go to the problem table. Where is the fixed nodes? So in the fixed nodes, the values are there, right? Okay. In the fixed nodes, the values are there. Okay. Now here I made it as empty, fixed nodes as empty. If I load this data, if I load this data, this fixed node should become empty right here. This fixed node should become empty or not? Everyone. Hmm? As I am passing empty values in the Excel sheet, when I import this Excel sheet, okay, as I am passing empty values, these fixed nodes should become empty. Fixed node should become empty. So let me just load the data. Okay. So you can go to the target table, problem table here, and see if the fixed nodes has become empty or not. Fixed nodes has become empty or not. So it did not become empty, guys. Okay, fixed nodes did not become empty. Okay, so that is because empty values will not be copied. You can see by default empty values will not be copied. If you check this checkbox, copy empty fields. Okay, if you make it empty here, then these empty values will be copied to ServiceNow system. Okay, if you don't make it as empty, if you don't check this checkbox, it will not copy the empty values. Do you understand this copying empty values and all? By default, ServiceNow system will not copy the empty values. Everyone, you understand, right? So if this checkbox is checked, it will actually copy the empty values as well. Let me try to import that one. Why it has skipped? Assignment group not found. Now I am loading the data. Okay, you'll see the transform history. Why it has skipped? It has skipped the transform. It has skipped the records. Okay, still it has skipped. What is this hello user? Okay. So just for now, you understand, guys, that no, Copy empty fields means by default ServiceNow system will not actually copy the empty values. If you select this checkbox copy empty values, it will actually copy the empty values as well. By default, when you load if the checkbox is not checked, when you load the data in the problem table, this fixed nodes will not become empty. Even if you pass empty values here, okay, even if you pass empty values here, it will not make it empty. Okay, only okay, only when you check this checkbox, it will actually copy the empty values in ServiceNow system. Okay. Well, when it comes to the create new record on empty query list records. So guys, here this is actually a bit important one. In the transform map, we made a number field as query list. Okay, we made a number field as query list. Okay. What happens if the number that is coming from the source, the number that is coming from the source is there into the target table? What happens? It will update the record. If the number from the source is not there in ServiceNow target table, what happens? It will create a new record. If the number is not there in ServiceNow, it will create a record. If the number is there in ServiceNow, it will update a record. Okay. Getting my point? If the number is not there in ServiceNow, it will create a record. If the number is there in ServiceNow, it will update the record. So here, what if the number is not coming from the source? What if the number itself is not coming from the source? Here you can see create new record on empty query list fields. So here, if you are not passing number at all here, suppose if you are not passing number at all, how ServiceNow system will understand that number is there in ServiceNow or not? If you are passing empty number, so empty number means if you are passing query list number as empty, query list value number as empty, so then what ServiceNow should understand? ServiceNow should understand that what should ServiceNow understand? Create a new record on empty query list fields. So if you are passing empty query list number, okay, empty number, empty problem number, and number is query list, right? So then what happens? It will create a new record when you check this checkbox. Hope you understand. Everyone. So you guys are clear, right? So in tomorrow session, we'll be understanding about transform scripts. So we will do the validations. We will do the validations in the transform using transform scripts in the transform map. So transform scripts is an important concept, guys. Okay. Transform scripts is an important concept. Any questions from anyone, guys? Everyone? Hello. Any questions from anyone? Guys, no questions? Today's concept is clear for everyone? Yes, Priyanka, it gives a number by default. It gives a number by default, Priyanka. Any questions from anyone? Okay, if no questions, we'll wind up the session for today and we'll be connecting tomorrow, guys. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all.